If you ask me, today's Season 1 Reloaded update for Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone shouldn't have happened. Very rarely will I say that, but I think it's true. I think that we should have had at least a few more days to bake for this update, but with 20 days left on the season, until when, I mean, who knows? We don't have a whole ton of time that could have been pushed back off to, but I think today's update should have been for sure, because it certainly was not it. From Warzone to zombies to multiplayer, whatever your preferred experience, something was broken in any of those. So as we go along, drop your thoughts, drop a like, and subscribe for more, but let's talk about all this. So some of the biggest stuff here in regards to what we saw came down to a lot with Warzone. First and foremost, we knew just from the patch notes a couple of things that didn't really sort of set the update up for a whole ton of success. We saw a bunch of weapon tuning, we saw some adjustments to the LMGs, to the bullet velocity on one-shot snipers, but you didn't see things like adjustments to the MTZ Interceptor, the WSP Swarm, the BAS-B. Nothing of those weapons that were the sort of main focus of the metas, none of those were adjusted. So you kind of adjusted things, but in reality, while you still recently saw nerfs to such a weapon of the MTZ Interceptor, which is still one of the clear choices of the meta, by bringing other weapons down and not adjusting those, you still, by increasing that gap in terms of effectiveness, you kind of inadvertently buffed those kind of weapons as well. So from a sheer weapon perspective and fundamental gameplay perspective, a lot of what people were hoping to see adjusted wasn't. Then on top of that, the covert exfils and the weapon cases, those were just removed from the update. We still haven't seen those. Those probably aren't going to be coming back here, at least for probably another week. I'd probably say we won't see those until at least Season 2, but we knew about that kind of stuff within Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone's patch notes for what we saw with this. But if you were able to jump into the game, you'd notice that a lot more than what was just mentioned on paper was wrong with the game. That's where we enter an almost laughable state with some of the issues that have persisted here with this. I mean, one of the biggest ones is that loadout drops are actually unable to be accessed for some people. If you try to jump in and grab your loadout from the loadout drop, it will bring up that bug where you flicker in and out of the menu UI for the loadouts and you're rendered immobile until somebody either moves the loadout drop out of your vicinity where it doesn't count as you interacting with it anymore. You can do that with a vehicle of some kind, or if you get killed in the process. Once you go down, it takes you out of that UI and you're able to self-res or get rezzed, but you still, again, cannot go in and grab your weapons. Now, I think you can buy those within the buy stations individually, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the loadout, especially a free one at that. Additionally, precision airstrikes have once again no notification whatsoever, no banner denoting that one is called in, still nothing that showcases the radius of that. I think that would be the easiest fix for the entirety of the precision airstrikes. Perks don't work for some people. The Champion's Quest was removed until a fix is made, so one of those big marquee items here for Warzone that was mentioned was not actually in the game anymore. The literal earth of the map is messed up in some points around the map as well. Urzikstan sometimes now will just have massive mounds of dirt and earth that are not supposed to be like that within the actual map. The servers have been absolutely awful. Weapon progression and attachments aren't working properly, and all of that and more is even assuming that you can get into the game at all, because one of the biggest hurdles that players are having, myself included, is the fetching online profile loop is back in full force, meaning that if you try and go in, enter into any part of the Warzone subset of the menus, it'll come into that loop of trying to fetch your profile, kick you out, try to fetch your profile, kick you out, and so on and so forth. It does not have a way to get past that unless you, I think, try and join a friend on that. But again, that's when you also encounter that loadout drop. That's one of the catalysts here for this, on top of being a random issue that will happen as is. So there's a lot wrong with that. And again, that's just the Warzone side of things. For multiplayer, from the beginning of the update, weapons could not be unlocked. The HRM9 didn't track. I think some people may still be having issues with this. I ended up getting my tracking working properly after one of the many playlist updates that have gone out already since the update has gone live. Some of the weeklies didn't track until an update on my end, though I still think one of them does not with the 4x optic. That weekly, still don't think that was tracking. There's tons of hitching from packet bursting where you'll just be running. And honestly, I noticed it in a lot of gunfights even, where as soon as you're about to take that gunfight, it'll hitch and lag you a little bit, and then you may die, you may get out with a lucky kill, but something that happens quite a bit. The create a class menu will pop back up. That's a bug that has returned here at this. That happened plenty of times in my games. Very, very annoying. The Soup Siege event, honestly, it's cool for some things. If you're doing well, I think it's fun, but other than that, it's just incredibly annoying. The fact that HP is up to almost Warzone levels of health, you have super speed. I'm glad if you enjoy it, but to me, it's not my cup of tea. I got all my challenges done for the event, and don't think I'm going to play it again. The event, I will say I am happy we got a camo as opposed to a blueprint that was previously mentioned, so that's at least a dub. One of few things here out of this update that I think are a positive. But then, for multiplayer, ranked play was just straight up delayed. They did say from yesterday in the beginning, before it even launched in terms of this update, that it would be something that would be rolled out a little after the update goes out, but right now there's no ETA on when this will actually happen. It's been officially described as due to unforeseen circumstances, Modern Warfare 3 ranked play will be delayed while we investigate a recently discovered critical issue. Our teams are working to solve the issue and launch Modern Warfare 3 ranked play as soon as possible. But again, still, nothing that we know of here with this. So when you take a look at the overall experience between Warzone and multiplayer, Warzone had like 4 things advertised that would be coming for Season 1 Reloaded, right? The Covert Exfils, the Weapons Case, Champions Quest, and the NVG Goal Log. The only one that is actually in the game is the NVG Goal Log. For multiplayer, while you do still have those new weapons, that new map and everything, and the new event coming along with it, again, the big pillar of the game that was being introduced here with this, still don't have that. So in terms of just sheer content here, you're missing out on quite a bit of what was promised. And in Zombies, while we did get the introduction of a new warlord, it's now almost ruined the entirety of the skyscraper section of downtown Urzikstan. It was a perfect spot for looting up and parachuting cross map, getting from point A to point B relatively quickly because you had so much height you could just parachute down there. But it's now rendered useless because you can't enter that top without clearing out all the obstacles in the bottom. You have to end up fighting the warlord and having a key to get up there times 2. The cranes themselves don't allow you to go up anymore. So that's something that's annoying. And game crashing is back in full force here in Zombies, or at least for something that I've experienced. I've seen it quite a bit on my feeds and say Twitter and stuff like that, but I hadn't crashed since the game launched, and I lasted a whole minute and 22 seconds before I crashed, causing me to lose all of my gear. No rejoin feature in Zombies, so that wasn't something I could end up jumping back into the game and getting my stuff and making sure I exfil and not losing all that. But instead, you know, just lost everything on a probably like 60 exfil grind or something, and just for nothing that I could control. So that was fun. So to me, it's not often that I say this kind of stuff, but honestly, I think we should roll back this update. Very, very rarely would I think I say that, because in some cases, yes, most of the content still works, but when most of the content like this that was coming was either delayed or is broken in some way, shape, or form, why not roll it back? I think the only other time I can think of where an update broke more of the game was the Caldera launch for Warzone. Every single update usually breaks 1 or 2 things inadvertently, and for the most part, they're relatively things that, yeah, are annoying, but you can still play the game. This, for the most part, you can't. You can't play half of the Warzone experience, half the content, over half actually, that was promised for Season 1 Reloaded, isn't actually playable in the game right now. Multiplayer is still kind of a mess, and Zombies, again, stability just seems to have gone out the window, or at least anecdotally it seems like that. So even if it was just for a few days, I would love to have seen this either postponed or a rollback of some sort. And I mean, I do get it's tough. Yeah, we only have 3 weeks until Season 2, so we don't have a ton of time, but like, I don't even really know what else to say beyond that, because it is just, it's so incredibly frustrating how all of this happened to make its way through. In these sort of situations, it's hard to be the productive critic because, I mean, what else can you say besides just fix your game? Because it's truly down to that. Like, it's not something I could give a recommendation for, okay, I don't like how this was made. I don't like the core design philosophy of something that was added in. Here's what I would do to adjust it. It just is truly something that is broken on various different fronts across multiplayer, Zombies, and Warzone. So for that, it's truly the only thing I can think of is, please get some fixes out, roll back the update, postpone it, whatever the case. But I don't understand how something this broken launched when everybody's back in office as well. It's not even like the Caldera event in 2021, whenever we got that, where the game launched the new version of Warzone, the new map, and then everybody was on holiday like the day or 2 after that. Everybody's back in the office at this point. They've had about a week and a half or so to polish everything off for where they hopefully were going into the holiday break before the new year. So it's one of those things that I don't know how we got here, and I really do hope that some fixes are made right now. But more so, I guess, than anything else, this is kind of me just venting. The entire day, I was just not having a good time trying to get any sort of weapon updates, any sort of content ready, but it was it was a struggle, man. So anyways, that's where I'm at here with this. Just wanted to casually talk to you about this. I don't think that we should have had this update today. I think it should have been rolled back, but let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and other FPS content. But for now, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.